Are you Liverpool's closest challenge ahead of Arsenal and the likes of City? Or do performances in the competition not count for anything at all? Let's get more on this with Chelsea Fan TV host Alex Harris. Alex, very good morning.
Morning, Alex.
Good morning. Good to
Alex,
be on.
have you enjoyed it so far, the Club World Cup?
I've loved it. Literally just flew back on Sunday from America. So the latest match against Fluminense, I didn't actually watch in the stadium. It's the first match I've watched from home. But it was good to see. And, you know, I echo what you said in a lot of ways. I think Maresca needed the time from this tournament to just get the squad together and show that we can build something with this squad. I was the first person to say that I didn't trust Maresca. I didn't like Maresca. I didn't want Maresca. And when Pochettino got sacked, I was very upset. But he's proven a lot of people wrong. And not only did he get Champions League football, but he won the Conference League. If that doesn't earn the respect of Chelsea fans in order to just be open-minded, I don't know what does. And I think the Club World Cup is just an extra boost. So for me, I can't sit here and say I'm a big fan of him, because there's a lot of problems that we still see, like inverting right backs and, you know, sometimes playing players like Nkunku, who we thought had no future at Chelsea. It's a little bit difficult to understand some of those decisions. But, you know, when you look at the results, it's hard to argue against it.
What about in terms of the title next year? Would you say that Liverpool are still favourites, Alex? And are Chelsea in there as second or third favourites? Or do you still think maybe it's City, Arsenal, then Chelsea?
Well, City have spent loads of money, haven't they? I mean, the thing is, you kind of know what to expect from City. And even Arsenal, they'll be up there, but they're always up there. They never get it done. So maybe there is a conversation to be had about Chelsea being in the race. I would be happy with us just being in the conversation, to be honest with you, because as soon as it hit 2025, we went right off the rails and it was just a downward trend. So if we can maintain our form for, you know, longer this year than we did last season, then I think that's a step in the right direction. Ultimately, though, I think what fans are going to be looking for is more consistency in terms of our style of play. It's not just about winning games. You know, you do have to win in a certain fashion. I believe that football, when it's played like Maresca wants to play and it doesn't go well, it's probably the worst football you can watch. But when it goes well, it's brilliant.
Two great goals, wasn't it, Alex? Two great goals.
That was lovely. And do you know what? I'll be honest. I didn't expect Joao Pedro to have an instant impact. I've honestly had no idea what to expect. And you look at him and you say, well, you got 10 goals last season. 5 of them were penalties. I don't really know what we're getting here that's worth £60 million, but you did know instantly that there's clearly something about the way he plays. It's not just about GA here. There's something about his style, his personality that the recruitment and Maresca clearly agree on. Because I do think Maresca is involved in these decisions. And he's a direct replacement for João Felix. I don't even think he's a replacement for Jackson. Although I will say this, I thought Jackson was shocking when he came on. He was rubbish. You could see the difference between Joao Pedro and Jackson straight away. Everything that Pedro did worked, and everything that Jackson did, everything he tried to do didn't. So polar opposites in that sense. But I wouldn't look to sell Jackson. I think he can still be a part of the team, but definitely not our number one striker as it stands.
Alex, I think what he's done really well is he's had too many players to deal with, right? So when you keep winning, the team sort of starts picking itself and you get a rhythm. And Chelsea now are starting to get a rhythm with the team selection and the starting lineup for the manager and the players. So the players who are not starting, they actually know, right, I'm not starting. I know I'm not going to be starting. I'm going to have to train well to get in that players out of the club. And games, I think, will help Chelsea get ready when the season starts. It's only a month away.
Not long, to be fair. It's not long at all. But, I mean, the issue we had last season, and in previous seasons as well, to be fair, this isn't just Maresca. Like, he's had a lot of players, but a lot of players who just aren't good enough, right? So you've got a selection issue with players who aren't going to consistently perform. How do you pick who's going to start? You say it yourself. If they're not performing, how do you figure it out? And now we've got some players here who are stepping up. We've got a great midfield, arguably in terms of depth, one of the best in the league. I think it's hard to argue against that. Our defence is solid. We do need a little bit of cover for Cucurella on that left-hand side up top. We've now got cover with Delap and Joao Pedro, who can play in multiple positions. Don't think there's any arguments against Palmer. And Nkunku's good depth on paper, but it'll be interesting to see if he plays more on the wings. Obviously, Esteval, Jamie Gittins as well. So you're not going to struggle there. Well. The big weakness we have is the only thing that we could have easily solved, and we decided not to, was a goalkeeper. And we are still stuck with Robert Sanchez, who, by the way, is actually, by his standards, having a great tournament. But if you've been watching the games, an actual keeper of Chelsea level, if we were saying it was a great tournament, they'd be pulling off great saves, good distribution, all these different things, making life easy for their defenders. But it's the total opposite. You know, he's been pretty average, but I expect less from Sanchez. So if we are going to lose in the final, and I'm not sitting here saying we are, I don't think it will be anyone else other than Robert Sanchez, because every single game, I'm not saying there's a big mistake in there, but there's always something. It just keeps you on your toes and you think, I don't trust this guy. So that, for me, is the one big issue at Chelsea we need to solve.
Alex, I've got to move on. Thank you, Chelsea Fan TV host Alex Harris. Thank you. 037